This always gets me, and I know it gets you. Why are golf clubs so expensive, yet these two clubs right here from two different brands seem to be able to do it way cheaper and still get their irons to perform? I'm talking firstly about the Cleveland XL ZipCore irons, and these are around the $599 mark. And also the Wilson Dynapower irons. These are around the $579 mark. Now I know for a fact if I was to pitch up here with the equivalent in the likes of a Callaway, TaylorMade, even PXG, we're talking £1,000 plus. So I thought, okay, with these irons being a lot cheaper, let's see which is the best and sort of dive into this argument of how can these other brands still charge so much. And on that note, let me know what you think on that debate. It's also really great this because I've actually never tested these irons together. I've tested them both individually and absolutely loved them, but I'm interested to know which is the most accurate. From the tee, like here on the 12, you know what? That is a super sneaky flag. Back right. Cheers, greenkeepers. Cheers, boys. I also want to know which has the best ball speed. We're going to look at this from the fairway and from the rough also. So you know what? Really put these irons to the test. Oh, I've hit it good. Straight at the flag. It's straight at the flag. Well, that flew further than I thought. That was a nice hit. And for the first shot of the day, we got a 129.8 ball speed, just short of 94 miles an hour clubhead speed, and that resulted in a 166 carry. For a 7-iron, that's bang on. And remember, that's one of the first shots of the day. So look at the back of these here. Which one do you think has the best shelf appeal? What I would say is this. The Cleveland definitely has the look of, I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, a more premium, better player's iron. Whereas I do like this flash of red in the Dynapower, but this inner area here on the insert definitely gives it, I don't know, I'm going to say this again politely, definitely gives it that sort of less premium, more game improvement looking iron. It just, yeah. Do you get what I mean there? Does anybody else agree? Okay, so it's a good start. We've hit the green with this first, and we got a ball speed just short of 130, which I'll be honest, for one of the first shots of the day, I'm not too upset with. I'm really not. We're gonna grow into this video. Let's hit this one away right here. Okay, let's see if we can get this on the green. We've already got the Cleveland. We've already got a decent ball speed. Let's see what the Wilson can do here. It's a bit pulley. It's a bit pulley. We're left side of the green. They're not gonna be close to each other. It's a bit pulley. Oh, I definitely feel like, oh. Now the pull might have contributed to this, and I definitely think it did. We got a 134.8 ball speed, similar clubhead speed, and a 178 carry. Wow, that was gone a long way. I actually think that might have missed the green back left. Let's head up to the green and see where they finished. So I'm going to say this cautiously. So far, I think the Wilson Dynapower might just be nicking the ball speed. It's not hit the green, so, well, I don't think it has. It's towards the back left. Okay, let's jump up there. Now, what's interesting, the tech is very, very similar. They both say they've got an extra large head, a higher MOI that allows them to reposition weight away from the center and basically make it more forgiving. And that's how, and that's why they've both gone for that extra large head design. But there is a slight difference in the Cleveland irons, which I need to talk to you about as you get into the longer irons, because that might be a big point on what you buy. Okay, so we've hit the green with the Cleveland right here, which is a decent start. It is, well, it went a little further than I thought, which is always nice. And we'll always use this white golf ball for the Cleveland and this yellow golf ball or green golf ball right here for the Dynapower. There is the flag. The Cleveland finished around here. I've just picked it up. And this is where have we gone here? There. And this is where the Wilson finished. So if we're talking which one has the upper hand right now, well, I guess it's very even. One hit the green, one missed the green, one had roughly around 5 miles an hour more ball speed, but I'm gonna caveat that it was a little bit of a pull. Let's now, before we hit some shots on the fairway, I feel that's what we need to do next. Let's just look at these down behind the golf ball in terms of like looks. And let me know when you're doing this, is there any that you prefer? And always have in the back of your mind, how can they produce clubs that are, I'm not going to say half the price, but probably not far off half the price, but we still get good ball speeds, we still get good accuracy. So I placed them both on the ground right here. On the right hand side, you have the Wilson Dynapower. On the left hand side, you have the Cleveland. Now the things that stick out to me straight away, and what I prefer, is the duller look of the Cleveland here on the left. You can sort of see the shinier appeal of the Wilson here on the right hand side of the screen. And all I would fear, and you're probably thinking the same thing, Alex, does it really matter if it's dull or shiny? But what I would fear is simply, will that sort of get scratched? Will that go? Will that sort of become duller over time? And also to add to that, if you look at sort of top end premium irons, let's take the P790, they will have that sort of dull, sort of brushed look to them to reduce glare. They don't have this shininess the Wilson does. Whereas if you look at the Cleveland, it definitely feels to me, and I'm just being picky here, a little more premium. Back to this XL head design, they're both very, very similar. I would say just the Cleveland has a slightly thinner top line, and I mean I'm talking only just. I think I'm going to come to around this yardage right here, as I think this will be around that sort of 165, 170 mark, and that flag today is at the front, so we can always fly past that. I tell you what, I don't know like your golf course, but all the rain we've had here, it's starting to look really, really lush. 180, so the flag is a little further away than I thought. We'll just stay a little, we'll go a little further ahead than that. And let's now hit some from the fairway. Look at ball speed and carry and see which one comes on top. It's even right now. Oh, that was launched high. That was hit really well. That is going like an absolute rocket. Oh, yes. Okay, I feel like the Cleveland needed that. A 173 yard carry, and this ball speed, I'm gonna say right now, ooh, that surprised me. That did surprise me. Interesting, I got a lot more club head speed, but less ball speed. Maybe that was a bit of the wet on there, but interestingly, that carry and the accuracy was class on that. That's 2 for 2 on the green. Let's now go back to the Wilson Dynapower, then we'll repeat the Cleveland and the Dynapower again from the fairway. Oh, that's a beautiful shot again. Absolute mirror image. Absolute mirror image. That's back right at the green. 183, 183. I mean, right now the Wilson, I have to say, is sort of like having it there on carry and ball speed right now. That really did surprise me. Those ball speed numbers. When I hit that Cleveland, I was expecting a lot more. Okay, so far, I'm preferring the look of the Cleveland. It has more of that tailor-made P790 feel, as I say, as you look down. The shelf appeal, and also that toe, I'll show you this in a second. That toe is less rounded here on the Cleveland, which again is something that I prefer. Now let's talk tech, because this could be one of the biggest reasons why you buy the Cleveland, or you stay away from it and go down the Wilson Dynapower route. So in the Cleveland, in 8-iron to sand wedge, you have the center of gravity right where you strike the golf ball. And they believe this gives you a more consistent performance and enhanced forgiveness. They also add MOI in abundance with a high and low heel toe MOI to increase feel and control. Now as you change into the 4-iron, the 7-iron, they have what they call a MainFrame channel. It's essentially a system of channels and cavities carefully milled into the backside of the club face to improve flex of the face at impact, boosting ball speed, and this allows them to lower CG, giving you a higher launch with increased distance. And interestingly, that's this bit here. This is the 7-iron. It's in here, this right here. Like, did you know what I mean? And look at the toe there. It's a little bit more lower, whereas if I bring in the Wilson now below, you can see it's a little more higher and rounded. Which one do you prefer the look of? I mean, some people might really like that. So I guess you've got one set which then has a bit more of a combo look to it, in the sense of it changes the position of the CG in the shorter irons to longer irons, and you've got one set that is essentially all out forgiveness all the way through and doesn't see that change. Oh, that was hit so good. That was hit beautifully. Oh. I've really underestimated this distance. A 132.9 ball speed, a 1.42 smash. That's 2 for 2 from the fairway with the Wilson. Can the Cleveland match this? I really do love the look of the Cleveland, but it's hard to ignore this Wilson right now. Oh, that was it really good. Keep coming back. That was a lovely feel and sound. This was what just hit the last one with the Cleveland, a 132.5 ball speed and a 178 carry. It is creeping up. So let's summarise the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots we've hit. 3 with each, 2 from the fairway with each, and 1 off the tee on the par 3 on the hole just behind us. So overall, I think the ball speed is just being snuck by the Wilson. The Cleveland looks better down behind the golf ball, and I do feel it's a little more accurate right now. I feel I can play shots with both of them. It's really, really nip and tuck. But I do think, right, I've just got a couple more shots to hit from the rough on the next hole, the 13th, but I do think I'm starting to find out it's sort of more suited to each of these irons, and also, well, let's have a look where these are finished, and also what one I think has the upper hand. Remember, there's like 20 pounds like between them. That's literally nothing. Here we go. Here is the flag. The 2 white golf balls of the Cleveland. I thought this one hit the green, this Wilson. Just faded it, but didn't quite fade enough. And then there you go, that's the first Wilson I hit on the back edge. Now, where these are finished is literally, I mean, look, if I stand to the side, they're pretty much all the same, even though we've got slightly different discrepancies in ball speed. Where they have actually finished, it's pretty much the same, isn't it? Okay, as I just said, let's hit some now from the rough. Because when you're trying irons, right, it's not just good to see how they perform off a mat. In dry, calm conditions. I mean, it is calm this morning, but my point being is we're going to give you an honest opinion on how these irons perform. We need to test them in every single scenario. Now, I have to say, I'm really quite interested to see how more so the Cleveland performs out of this rough, because it has laser milled face, creating a rougher face, which that means more spin and more control. And when you're in the rough, well, we all know we want more control. So let's hit again some shots from here. This is a tough shot, isn't it? This is the 13th, stroke index 1, up the hill. Flag is in well, middle of the green. Being pretty kind to me today. So let's start this off by hitting the first one away with the Cleveland from the rough. Now, straight away, this launches extremely high, which might have been a little bit to do with the lie, it's slightly uphill, but wow, it's gone high. Now, I do feel it's got the distance because it went over 175 yards. Now, with that being said, I then hit one away with the Wilson. Again, look at the launch here on the shot tracer, pretty much the same in terms of height, but I have to say this. Look at the distance. I just said to you the Cleveland went in the 170s mark, and this went 187. Now, we could look at that as a positive and a negative. One, if we're looking which one's longer, well, we have to take a little bit of the variance of the fact that you could have got a little bit of grass stuck between the face and the ball, creating a bit of a flyer, or does this ball just sometimes jump and go a lot further when you get it out the middle of the middle? Remember, the whole idea is that this mass is set from middle to toe on the Wilson irons. You've also got to look at this and go, like, do I want actual distance? Is distance like the actual factor of why I'm buying these irons? And if it is, then, well, that's great. Because I think out of these two right here, the Wilson is definitely longer than the Cleveland. But I don't know what it is about it. I just feel like I've got a little more control with the Cleveland. I do. Also look at the cavity of the back. Very, very similar. Very similar. Let's now hit the final ball away out the rough with this Cleveland. Let's see what we can get on this shot in particular. That was a lovely strike. I think it's got to go. I think that's got to go. Oh, it did. It did go, it did go, it did. But that's shorter again, that is shorter. Now, I'm looking at this two ways, I really am. I feel, again, more control. I'm not going to get on the jumps, but also, right, okay, let me hit this, show you where those are finished, and give you my honest opinion of what iron is best. Oh, I think that's lovely. That's a beautiful shot. It's gone, it feels faster, it feels hotter off the face. I think there's going to be a bit of discrepancy here. I really, really do. Again, that's touching 180s carry with a 7 iron. I have to say, I'm so stuck right now on what is best. Okay, this is where they've finished. This was our first shot with the Cleveland. This was our second shot with the Cleveland. That was our first shot with the Wilson and our second shot with the Wilson. So you can clearly see from this shot right here to this shot at the back, there is, well, I'm gonna say the best part of 10, 20, maybe even 20, yeah, 20 yards between each of them. I'm ready. I'm ready to tell you which is best here. Let me just grab them out. Okay, so here we go. Another little look at these irons. We have the Wilson and the Cleveland. There you go. I mean, great shelf appeal on here. Not so good show of appeal on the Wilson in my opinion. This looks a lot more, well, premium. Also the toe area is a lot lower and a lot more what I would say tailor-made P790. Now I know it's not a hollow-headed iron, this Cleveland, but you get what I mean with that. Look at those right here. And just to summarize what we've seen, Cleveland goes a little shorter, a little bit less ball speed. I did see the clubhead speed be a little bit higher, but at the end of the day, ball speed is what matters. They both launch high, they both feel forgiving. I feel like I can move the ball with each of them, but there's something I need to say. So I'm gonna say this, right? If you are, I'm gonna say, a higher teens handicapper, and I mean this, right? I would be looking more at the Wilson, just purely because of that idea that the center of mass, and essentially the most forgiving part of this club is in this section right here. I've been known to the toe, by the way, and that doesn't change throughout the set. So that's going to be better, more forgiving, give you better shots in the longer irons, and even, you know what, in the shorter irons. So for the higher teens handicapper, I'm going to say the Wilson. With that all being said, I do feel I have a slightly more control with the Cleveland. So I'm going to say this. This, I think, could be aimed at anybody from 5 handicap to sort of, I'm going to say 12, 13, 14, 15. Max, and just say why I say max is that it does look a little more traditional. It isn't as probably as oversized as what the Wilson looks. It is oversized, not saying that, but the looks of this will be sort of more inviting, I feel, for a lower sort of end of that spectrum. I also think you're going to get less flyers. That gives more control. You're also getting what I feel is a little more for your money. Now I know they're a little more expensive, only £20, but you're getting a milled face. And when you want some control out the rough, you want to be able to spin the shorter irons, I feel you're really going to be able to do that. That's why it lends itself to the slightly, guess, better player in that spectrum. I do hope you enjoyed this review of the Cleveland XL irons versus the Wilson Dynapower. Now isn't it mad? How can they produce irons of that quality at a fraction of the price? And the only thing that I can come up with, I've said this before, is simply marketing.